Welcome to today's session. We're very, very excited to be kicking off our 2026 Grand Challenge. This is a new format for us in the ASCILITE Learning Analytics Special Interest Group. So welcome. Very happy to have some of you here. And we know that some of you aren't able to make it today. So hence we're recording this session to distribute out to anyone who's interested in joining us. But before we start, I'd just like to acknowledge that I'm presenting here from the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to the elders past and present, and welcome you to pay your respects to the lands on which you might be joining us from today, and to acknowledge that we have been learning together on these lands for thousands of years. And learning, of course, is quite key to what we want to do here. So we have this grand challenge, as we mentioned. We'll talk a little bit more about what that actually means in a moment. But really, what we're really interested in here is, regardless of what your challenge ends up looking like, or what data sets you're using, or what systems you're looking at, what we're really trying to do here is to find the learning in the data. So it's something that we've been talking about in learning analytics for, well, the whole time we've been talking about learning analytics, really, is to say, how can we use analytics to really help us understand how our students are learning and to improve the environments in which they do so? So we're very happy to have you all along with us today. I'm not going to say too much more. I'm actually going to hand over to Marion now to take us through what we're going to do in this session. We're really keen to get your input and definitely get your questions. So please do feel free to ask questions as we go through. We'll also do a Q&A at the end, but please do ask anything that you're interested in about. As I said, this is the first time we're doing a grand challenge, but it's not the first time that some of us have been involved in a grand challenge. So we're hoping that we'll be able to learn together and work out how this is going to work throughout the year. But I will hand over now to you, Marion.
Thank you very much. Tēnā koutou katoa from New Zealand, University of Auckland, and welcome to the session, everybody. Can you hear me all right? Firstly, just maybe thumbs up. Yep, all good.
All good.
So I'm just going to take you through a brief description of our grand challenges, and then Srečko will describe the 4 challenges in a bit more detail. Then we hand over to Lisa. She'll be giving a little bit of a context around learning analytics and where we are at. And then we are hoping to have a really good, robust discussion on helping you choose a challenge. And that's a question and answer session. And at the end of this presentation there, we will be sharing the expression of interest form for you to fill in what you like to tackle at some stage. Doesn't have to be today, so you'll just get the link to it. Okay, Linda, next slide, please. Okay, so what is our challenge? So in this grand challenge, we'd like you to engage collectively and collaboratively, exploring some data about the learners and their learning. So this is very closely aligned to the newly updated learning analytics definition. But now we are working in AI-assisted learning and teaching environments, as everybody can attest. And so it becomes increasingly difficult to actually think about and also collect the data that are meaningful to get some actionable insights that enhance a student-centered teaching and learning practice. So we would like to explore that together. We're all challenged with that. And this challenge is designed to be highly practical and applied and collaborative. And we will have lots of opportunities to actually share our challenges, surface some of the hurdles to getting some of these actionable insights, learn from our own experiences and share them with others, and hopefully identify some approaches that can be adapted to your own context. So that is the whole mission of the Grand Challenge. So it is applicable, it is collaborative, and hopefully we end up with something that we can present at the ASCILITE conferences at the end of the year. Next slide, please, Linda. Thank you. So I'm going to hand over to Srečko because he is much better placed to introduce the platforms. I had a look at them all, and you will be at the end of this presentation are getting the slides so you can explore for yourselves using the links. But Srečko, can I invite you to please explain the platforms?
Yes, of course, man. Thank you so much. Can you? I tried to reorder slides in the background, but they didn't work. Linda, can you go to the next slide, please, before we get to the platform? Yeah. So I admit I pushed here a little bit, so it's not really like this, and we do use data every day for all kinds of purposes. But the whole reasoning behind this challenge is coming from the fact, basically, that we have been giving different learning management systems and different platforms that collect data for us. And then we go there, analyze data, come up with some conclusions. And most of the time, we claim that we measure something that we are not 100% certain that we measure. Yes, sometimes we map that on the more established instruments, and then we can still claim, but we don't have much opportunity to design for what we actually want to capture in the data. And this time we thought, can we shift from giving you a data set that someone else collected and collect data together, which is the whole reasoning behind. I mean, we can go back to the previous slide now, Linda. Sorry about that. We did label this slide the platforms, but it's more about the questions, actually. The only reason why we provided those platforms is because we can give you access to every one of those. So the first one, and I'll go into more details in the next few slides, but what we want to do to this challenge and with you all here is to think about what do we want to know. So if we say, hey, can we explore, does AI personalized behavioral nudging improve SRL trajectories more than generic nudging and so on and so on? Yes, we have this platform. We can collect data around this challenge, and we can probably help you answer this question. So these are 4 questions that we put forward because we can link them easily to the existing platforms. But the whole point of the last few minutes we're trying to say is you're more than welcome to think about other questions that you can answer using those or any other platforms. So it's not about, let's not make it about the platform. Let's make it about the questions that we actually want to answer using some of the learning analytics methods and platforms we have out there. Okay, Linda, let's go to the next one. And again, yep. So this is the whole idea. Again, I admit that I pushed a little bit on the left side. It's not really that bad. But we would like to focus on the right side. Let's hypothesize something with those tools and context in mind. Let's design an intervention, data collection, and let's try to find the evidence in data. Whenever you talk to a statistician, they will always tell you not to come to them with the data, but talk with a statistician before you start designing your study. It should be similar here. We shouldn't care about what limitations we have in terms of, I have model. Okay, fair enough. Can we push that a little bit further? And can we actually collect what we want to collect? And I think with the tools and platforms we have at the moment, we probably can. Okay, next slide. I'll just briefly go through each of those platforms just to give you a bit of a context what each of them does. But you're more than welcome to follow up on each one of those, and we can talk further. And Daniel, I know you. Is Daniel still there? Yep, he is. I know you're more familiar with Flora than I am, so feel free to jump in and share anything you might want to add. But the whole thing around Flora as a platform, it allows you to go on, don't be so shy. It allows learners to engage with the text and annotate and plan and get feedback on their writing process. Basically, it's something, Lisa, similar to the platform you had before, Archive Writer, right? and it just gives more. It's more better linked with generative AI. And the next slide is actually more important. It provides the mapping from different activities in Flora, such as highlighting text, taking notes, using the search tool, using the timer, planner, and so on, to certain metacognitive processes, SRL processes, basically, orientation, planning, evaluation, and so on and so on. So the platform allows us to collect data and analyze to what extent learners engage with each of those SRL processes. Again, it's more about how do we design nudges and how do we design interventions using this platform rather than necessarily analyzing the existing data set. But if you don't have any question in mind, and if you have limitations, what you can or cannot use in your courses, I'm sure we can add pretty much anyone here to our ethics and get you to analyze some of the existing data that you already collected. Next one. Chatmate is an interesting platform. It's not just a chatbot like you can create with ChatGPT, for example. One of the biggest benefits is that it collects all the interactions in the background, such as we have a few examples here, so that we can analyze them later. What we did in the meantime is that we also deployed a framework that's, if you're familiar with LLM as a judge, that allows us to automatically evaluate most of all those interactions that are coming from Chatmate into the database, and we can automatically label most of them according to different frameworks. So if you have a framework in mind and you would like to analyze how learners interact with AI, with respect to specific framework, we can always instrument that and allow it for automated. Of course, we would have to establish agreement between humans and AI before we automate the whole thing, but that's also possible. Just think about this as a platform that can host multiple agents and allow you to interact between them. Next one. And I'm intentionally shallow with the descriptions, so happy to provide details later if any one of those platforms triggers an interest. ToothBob is a platform developed by a startup, a spin-off company from Adelaide University. It's a Chrome plugin. It allows actually learners to engage with their lessons in a slightly different way. So what it does, as you listen a lesson or YouTube video or whatever the content might be, this plugin extracts key concepts, creates the flashcard for you if something is not quite clear, takes notes, provides the live summary, and so on, and also provides the live AI chatbot support. They link this live AI as more knowledgeable other in terms of zone of proximal development. I'm not quite certain it's that component is still there in that way, but something definitely to be tested. But for example, automatic note taking, it simply removes that cognitive load of taking notes and listening while writing. So it can automate that process, so learners can focus on listening and take notes later. So any intervention that includes instructional scaffolding, this platform can be quite handy in delivering those. Again, I don't know if this they did only a small study so far, and obviously it's I mean, as you might expect, it shows that the platform does support learning and improves learning outcomes, but something definitely to be tested in more details. And finally, the last one is a platform that we tried to use for one of our workshops, Open Code. It's been used by more than 5 million developers around the world. It simply, in this particular context, it's if you're teaching a computer science course that involves some kind of coding, it probably would allow you to explore questions such as, does explainable AI reduces that over-reliance and improve independent debugging skills, for example, or anything related to coding? This platform is actually really great. We did have a link deployed here locally, but apparently our developers are still sleeping, so we will get back to that later. Anyways, of all those platforms introduced here, this one probably requires more technical knowledge. So if you're teaching any, again, computer science programming course, then you're more than welcome to explore this one. If not, then probably the other three might be more interesting. Before I hand over, maybe we can move to the next slide, and then I'll hand over to Lisa. But again, it's not just about a platform. What we want to do to this challenge is to focus on what are the questions we want to answer. We will help you access those platforms, deploy them, use them, whatever the challenge you might have. If you can't deploy in your course, maybe I have a course that we can we can ask some of those questions, or we can use Prolific, or whatever the approach we might go ahead with. But we want to help you answer the questions that seems to be really critical for you. So don't think just about the platform. Let's start with the question, and then we can link it back to the platform. Lisa, I'll stop talking.
Okay, thanks, Rachel, for that very nice overview of those, really what those mini challenges within the grand challenge. So I'm just here to share with you a little bit about the logistics of this whole grand challenge, because this will be the focus for our SIG this year, and so it will take place over the rest of this year. So starting first with our kickoff today, where we're orienting you towards this, what this challenge is all about. We're also going to invite you at the end of this session to submit your expression of interest, and then after that we will get some groupings going according to those challenges that they're interested in, and hopefully we'll have a mix of people also to reflect the diversity of learning analytics, and then we'll announce those groupings. Following which, over the months of April to October, which is where the main chunk of your explorations will be, what you will be doing is just working in your own little groups to work through your challenge. This is where you will decide on your own time to meet outside of these monthly catch-ups, but we will have our monthly catch-ups to just check up on how everyone is doing, and also see if there's any questions that people have, or discuss any issues. And we're hoping that at the end of October, towards the end of October, you'll have something exciting to share. And more importantly, also to share not just what you have done, but also what you have learned through the whole process. And in December, we are aiming to showcase your grand challenge, your challenge outcomes to as a session in the ASCILITE, which will be in Brisbane this year. Okay, could I have the next slide, please? So we want to, as Rachel was mentioning just now, we're not just thinking about platforms, but we're also trying to bring back the whole focus on this idea of learning analytics. So putting things in a learning analytics context, what will be helpful as you start thinking about which of the 4 challenges you would like to explore, you might want to ask yourself, think in terms of these 4 concepts, which are in Klaus' learning analytics cycle, which is the learner, the data, the intervention, and the analytics. So is in your own context, what would be the particular concept that matters most to you? Is it how students are learning through the various interactions, not just with teachers, but also with their peers, and also with any other agents in the learning ecosystem? Next is the data. So are you particularly, is your focus or concern mainly in your context, has it to do with the kind of data that you have? Is it, what kind of data do you have? Like, do you have like transcriptions, or do you have data about learning processes and things like that? And then thinking about the intervention, what kind of interventions are involved in your context? Could it be like personalized feedback or adaptive learning or AI bots? And then lastly, is your concern the kind of analytics that are involved? Like what could you do in terms of analytics? Would it be more explanatory? Would it be predictive? Would it be multimodal? Yeah, so these are all the kind of considerations that you can think about, what you're particularly interested in, and that could help you decide on the challenge that you would like to tackle. Okay, and I think that was it from this end. Yeah, so now there's probably been a lot of information given to you over the past 20 minutes or so. So I'm just going to open the floor to any questions and yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to raise them now. You can put them in the chat or you can unmute yourself. We're a small group, so yeah.
I was just wondering, we are a very small group, so I just wondered whether we could take just 2 minutes and for the participants to introduce themselves, so we also have an idea where you're coming from, what context you're working in, so that would also help. Yeah. So any volunteers to go first?
We should probably job in Tia because we can see Tia. Is that all right?
Yeah. Tia already did it by herself anyway. Good on you.
All right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hello, everyone. My name is Tia. I'm from Indonesia. I got this information from Dr. Lisa. I contacted her like last month to ask for potential PhD supervision. I plan to continue my study to PhD, and actually I came from industry. I worked at EdTech in Indonesia, and yeah, we actually had a lot of data, and I'm thinking of how we could use that data to to improve learning to support our learners. Then I contacted Dr. Lisa to ask for potential supervision, and she informed me about this challenge, and thank you so much, Dr. Lisa.
Sounds great. So it might inform even your research as a doctoral candidate, right?
I still plan to apply for the doctoral study, and I think it's a great opportunity for me to learn from all of you, because I'm so new to this field. I work as professional in industry in Indonesia.
Sounds great. Thank you.
That's really what this challenge is all about, is about being able to bring people together from different places with different skills and work together on a problem or a challenge to learn from each other and with each other, I think. So it's really good to be able to have people from all different perspectives, different levels of prior knowledge, all of that sort of thing. So, and your industry lens could be quite useful to whichever group you end up in. Yeah. Fantastic.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I'm just going to go in order now, I think, of who's on my screen. So, Tegan, are you happy to do a quick introduction to yourself?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, I've done a laptop refresh and I'm having some camera issues.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm an early career academic at the University of Newcastle. I do a lot of teaching and essentially, I guess, the guinea pig for a lot of new ed tech, kind of around supporting students. Also an academic integrity officer as well. So kind of lots of different teaching lenses coming in. And for me, learning analytics is really important. We have a lot of blended cohorts with face-to-face and online students, and as a lot of testing things for me that then get passed on to academics to potentially take up, but would really like to get a bit more of an evidence base behind that around, the way that students engage with that and how we can use that data I guess, more so protective for students if there are concerns around their engagement with the course and their submissions, that, you know, they can use those learning analytics to kind of say, hey, here is the evidence that I've been involved in this space. So yeah, then when this popped up, I was like, oh, this is exactly the area that I'd like to get into research-wise. So yeah, really keen to connect with others in this space.
Fantastic. Welcome. Daniel, you're next on my screen.
Sure. Hi, I'm Daniel Abbott. I'm a research fellow at the Center for Attention Complexity and Learning, so I also directly work with Shreshka and the others here. My research is, mostly been on self-regulated learning so far, and then within this context, what I'm interested in researching would be ad hoc regulation of learning. So let's say a student engages in some sort of task, right? Something occurs where the student did not account for. So classic examples would be they get interrupted or they realize the task is more difficult than they assumed it would be. And then the plan they made for the study or strategy doesn't really work anymore. So what sort of elements do the students engage in for ad hoc self-regulations in this moment is the type of research I would like to be doing in the future.
Fantastic. That sounds very interesting.
So yeah, just to jump in here, Daniel actually pushed with Flora, who just joined us from Monash, to install Flora platform here. So they will be doing some work in that space. And if anyone is keen to explore that further, yeah, more than welcome to reach out.
Great. We'll move on to Andrew. Welcome, Andrew.
Hi, how's it going? Yep, my name is Andrew. I'm also part of the same centre at Adelaide University. My research is mostly in understanding team behaviours in learning contexts, but I've been a bit of a fox lately and getting myself involved into a lot of other things, a lot of other research spaces as well, like human AI teaming, the impacts of well-being on learning, and a couple of other things. So I'm interested around all those areas that I've touched on, and I dropped into this ASCILITE bulletin meeting just to have a look what's happening and just to kind of see all the interesting things with the challenges, especially the grand challenges. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Excellent. I'm sensing your well-being theme through your background image of being by the beach with the wind in the trees. It sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks.
Excellent. And last but not least, we got Ping there.
Hi, it's Pinsar. So I'm from
Right.
UTS, Faculty of Engineering and IT. I'm just interested to see what this is all about.
Yep. Excellent. Fantastic. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading the chat as we're going through. Excellent. Oh, it's great to get to know you all a little bit better. Are there any questions that anyone has about the challenge before we get into the logistics and how to sign up? No
I don't have a
questions?
question, and I know I'm part of the Learning Analytics SIG team, but I would really love to work with people on the flora on self-regulation because I'm really interested in that. And actually, what Daniel said is really interesting. This ad hoc self-regulation, it never really occurred to me, but that would be very interesting to explore further.
Yeah. I think it'll be great when we get the teams together to, as Shrechka said earlier, to really unpack what are the areas of interest and what are the sorts of questions that people could ask around that sort of thing. So, yes, being able to match people up.
Well, all I was getting at really is that I don't just want to be a helper, but I want to be a contributor, in a team. So that's what I was really trying to get across.
Excellent. Well, what we might do is we'll come back to any questions that people might have towards the end. Lisa, did you want to have a chat? Did you want to talk to this slide because you've put together this form to get everybody's expressions of interest?
Yeah, so this is just a simple form so that we can know a little bit about you, and most importantly, what is the particular challenge that you're interested in hopping onto, and then what will happen is we will group you. Although probably, if this is the group that we're working with, we'll probably won't need a lot of time to put you into groups based on your interest in the challenge, as well as we're hoping to have a variety of skill sets within each group. So, yeah, so that's why some of the questions will be asking a little bit more about yourself. So yeah, it won't take long to fill in, just to indicate like what you're interested in and what your background is really. I'll just put the link in there for you to get onto. So actually, I was wondering to my co-leaders, Shreshko, Linda, and Marian, how long do we give for these EOIs to come in?
That's a good question. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking maybe till the end of next week, because we've got a few people who weren't able to make it today who are going to perhaps watch this recording, and we will put the call back out through social media and through the ASCILITE network. So we'll hopefully have a few more people to be able to put together into groups. So I'm thinking perhaps by the end of next Friday, so that sort of end of that Easter break, if we want to put it that way, we can, by that time, we'll see how many people we've got, and we'll see what we can do to put people into groups and connect you together. As I think Lisa mentioned before, the idea is that you communicate with your group, and you can sort of set up how you want your group to work. So how often you want to meet, the sorts of questions and challenges that you'll obviously be focused on, and basically we're there to guide you, and we'll have those monthly check-ins just to make sure everyone's going through okay. I find those check-ins, we've done similar challenges before. Some of us in the team have been part of similar challenges, where we've either had a particular data set that we're looking at, or we've had a particular topic that we're really interested in, and people go off and do their own things. And I find when you come together and have those check-ins, it's quite useful just to hear how other people are going, what perspectives they're bringing to the projects, what challenges they're having. I mean, outside of the challenge itself, what are the issues and struggles. And sometimes you can raise a question in those sessions, and someone from another group will come up with a really fantastic answer that'll help get your group going again. So yeah, it's a nice little community thing. I mean, that's one of the things that the ASCILITE Learning Analytics Special Interest Group is all about, is actually about building capability within the community of people interested in learning analytics. And as Lisa also mentioned, we'd really love to be able to put this together as a sort of mini showcase in our session at the conference. So we always have a session at the conference, and we can do anything we want in that session, really. And sometimes we'll talk about what we've done through the year, through the series and things like that. But this time we thought it'd be great to get your contributions and have some little mini presentations of the outcomes of each of the challenges to see what we've learned across the year. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think that could be a really good highlight. And obviously other people can come along to that, even if they weren't involved in the challenge, and hear about what people have been learning, and not just the outcomes of the data analysis, but also the process. So what have you learned together? Who have you met? What sort of connections have helped build whatever you've got worked towards in the year?
So just to clarify, Linda, so you mean the 10th of April, right? After Easter, the Friday.
Yes, that sounds about right. Yes.
Yeah. That's
so
good.
We'll put that in our call out to the world.
Yeah.
And yes, so if you could fill it in by next Friday, that would be absolutely wonderful. And then, as I said, we'll be able to connect you together. So.
And please share with your colleagues already. I mean, a few,
Absolutely.
networks. I think that's always a good way to do it. I have a couple of networks at our university, and so I will just put the call out there as well.
Yeah. And we did have a lot of people reacting to our post on LinkedIn. So I think there's quite a few people interested in being involved that just are not here today. But I guess we'll finish there if everybody's okay with that. And please do ask any other questions that you might have. Reach out to us if you'd like to ask anything outside of this session as well. So there are our contact details there. But as I said, the form is probably the next stage in the process, or probably it is the next stage in the process. So if you fill that in, and as I said, we'll then connect you together with your groups. So, but thank you for joining us today, and please do stick around if you've got any further questions.